Hello and welcome to the video conference of the first quarter of 2026 for StarInvest. I'm Vlad Obreja and I will be moderating this conference. And on behalf of the company, we'll have Mr. Rifanta and Mr. Adrian Tănase, CFO. We have to remind you that this teleconference is registered and you can follow it with the presentation on the website. And also, this video conference has translation in English. If somebody wants to listen to it in English, please, you can find the button in the interpretation bar. Please use the Q&A session to ask your questions, and you will get your answers to your questions. To begin this presentation, we'll go to Adrian Tănase, StarInvest. Hello, and thank you for participating in this call. And we hope to have also physical interactions with the presenting of our results. We'll talk about the first quarter. It will be a brief presentation because not a lot of things happened from a financial perspective in Q1. And we also have a presentation, I'll share it. I don't know if it's visible. Yes. So it's a template that we want to standardize. And as for the 2025 results, we will begin with our strategy and vision. If something changed, all the message, we want to build a portfolio of buildings and properties, office, to generate revenues to be distributed as much as possible. We have a first deal. Here you can see the strategy, the opportunities in the office one. And this is the same message that we have transmitted up to now with the platform, the position of the company for implementing the strategy. We have a first deal that we want to close from Polona 68, 19 million euros, that has a 1 million position in cash that we want to close. This is the event that we're working on, and it's very important for us. And we have another event about the share increase to finance this deal. Of course, you know, from our current, we increased the share capital, the second phase at the end of the May, and you have here all the figures, 198 subscribed shares, and we have 100,000 euros attracted, the increase of the share capital. We have a tripling of this position, and we have other cash positions that we will close the deal from Polona. So aside this offer, we worked a lot on it, and we will focus on closing the deal in Polona 68. The subscribed capital, the shares so today are available and they are tradable. They are recorded, the new ones, due to the share increase. As a result, let's look at this call. Of course, the revenues decreased because we have revenues where we rent or we sell. So we had a selling and we received in advance, and we had an apartment. The deal was closed and only had this advance that was recorded. We do not have any asset or apartment from 2020. And we have a land that we have a strategy upon. As economic activity, as revenues, the activity was close to zero because we do not have the assets to rent. I hope this is not a surprise for anybody, as all the assets have been sold. With the expenses, they decreased as we didn't have assets, we didn't record expenses, of course, but the expenses with the suppliers, third-party suppliers, are ongoing, and all the expenses with the lawyers, the legal fees for a deal, for holding an asset from our portfolio, are expenses that Star Invest are incurring. 180,000 that are for the deal we have been talking about. We have a loss. Of course, we do not have a fee on a tax on the profit. The first quarter, from a financial perspective, nothing really happened. But from our activity, from implementing the strategy, there's some very important events happened. Signing of this contract for acquiring the building. This is the first asset from a portfolio that we hope it will be significantly higher, and initiating the share increase that happened and was finalized with the results that you see. Looking forward to what we believe you are interested in, we are working on finishing and registering to the trade registry of the share increase. Those are available, and we will publish the register. So we will finalize this share increase to the trade registry up to 15th of June. And of course, for Lona, this is the main event of the company, and closing of this deal and entering into ownership of this property in the second quarter. And we will include in our financial results the effect, including on the revenue side. We will start to record all the rental revenues also in the group, and to see that we can materialize the budget for 2026 that was discussed previously with you.
This is on my side. I don't know if you want to add something as well. No, I think you highlighted the main arguments. We are analyzing what will happen in Q3. So we have a land plot in the portfolio. It's part of the core strategy of the company. And in this regard, we started the capitalization of this land plot, and we are conducting positive discussions, which will hopefully finalize with a permit. No, we are waiting for the conclusion of the transaction. And as Adrian stated, we are waiting to own the asset, the first acquisition from a good series of future revenue generating assets as per our strategy that we have envisaged since the end of last year. If there are questions, we are open to discussion. We want to have an interactive discussion with you all. So here on our side, we don't see any question.
Pentru moment încă
Are
nu
we
sunt
missing
întrebări.
any question? No, right now there are no questions.
Da, da, da.
Was the sound okay for everyone? Yes, it was all right. Honestly, we didn't expect a lot of questions, which is in line with the activity reported by the company for this quarter, but the effort of appearing before you and shareholders is something that we will do constantly. And of course, we are sure that during the next calls, the topics will be more detailed and multiple in number. So obviously, we hope questions will be in as well. So, oh wait, what is the budget for 2026? Can you remind us? So, the budget, if I remember correctly, it's more important to analyze the cash flow. Just a second. I have to open the budget. We can also resend the budget if necessary. No, I can simply share the screen. Just a second so I can share my screen.
Nu știu dacă se vede. Se vede?
I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it here? Yes, it's visible.
Ok, deci ăsta e bugetul de venituri și
So
cheltuieli, dar
this
noi
is the budget. We try to differentiate
cu analiză pe cash flow, da?
a cash flow analysis. So in the first part, we suggest an analysis of available distributable cash flow. You know, there's a difference between the registered profit in the P&L and a different thing is the distributable cash flow.
Pe RASC și pe IFRS sunt
There are significant differences both in RASC and IFRS. So if we envisage this presentation, first off, of a distributable cash flow and then the budget as per the P&L, but what we present here strictly relates to Polona Shai Shop, which will lead to an annualized gross yield. So we're talking about 15.5% that remains at gross value for shareholders. This is normalized and unfortunately will not be reflected this year because the building will only have less than 6 months in our portfolio. And here, 8 months, what you see here, 8 months, relates to postponements. So we will have 6 months. We will have to adjust the budget in this regard. But if we would have finished the acquisition at the end of April, we would have achieved a distributable gross cash flow after amortization of the loan. It's a discussion here as well, prior to amortization or after. So we would have a 10% distributable cash flow if we had a funding, but because we are not in the first situation, after amortization of the loan, 8% will be distributable. Again, with taxation, taxes that have to be paid, it's another whole topic. We have to see how we will distribute the dividend. Will it be based on the previous legislation in place? We want to have a scenario that applies to any type of taxation situation. But these are the yields that we estimated, of course, with the building owned as of May. In terms of distributable to shareholders before amortization of the loan. So let's not, of course, total yield. This is a yield generated by the distribution. And of course, the general yield will have to be added, capital return, which will build up a total return for shareholders. Of course, again, we have this 267,000 lei, but working And what concerns our funding structure, we want to close the deal right now, but we are already conducting discussions with the bank that we collaborate to see if there is a possibility for our amortization to be lower and lower. We want a bullet type funding. I don't know if we will succeed to achieve a 0% amortization, but maybe 2% that less, that would be great. We would thus achieve a higher distributable cash flow for shareholders. We have another question. How do you see the development of the real estate market in 2026 in light of the regulations applicable in the sector? So these regulations relate to the residential side, residential developments. So here I'm talking about the Nordis law. I'm talking about increase of VAT and other steps that are taken. Right now, the impact is on the residential market where we are not active in. We don't estimate any future effects for us. In terms of commercial real estate market, where we have office buildings, retail spaces, commercial spaces, storage units, logistical units, so industrial spaces, the drivers for these sectors are very different. A low impact from the regulatory side. Of course, for us, the big elephant in the room relates to a regulation that would have a major impact for our strategy and our overall future development. But right now, we don't have significant updates. We can, however, inform you in what concerns our efforts from the past months to get involved, actively involved in the proceedings related to adopting this law. We joined the federation subordinated to Concordia, and with the work group, we supported and created an impact group in what concerns this topic. So in the end, the RIT law has an impact structure, so it will have a tax impact, and this is of course an essential element for the finance ministry in terms of adopting and implementing this law. We also drafted a position paper regarding endorsements and pre-approvals approved up until now, obtained up until now, so that erroneous interpretations of this law will be clarified beforehand in due time. And we also appeared before commissions. We told our story. We talked about the impact of this law and what it can actually mean for the stock exchange, for the real estate market. And this is something that we are interested in. And hopefully in the medium term, we will benefit from this law. Yes, this is something we didn't say, but it's important. Out of the three big things we conducted in Q1, share capital increase, conclusion of share capital, and we are also involved in this federation, Fides. And Star Invest was involved and contributed to creating and drafting the documents so that we can bring the law draft on a better path, because the fiscal implications would affect the market overall. So it's a taxation impact. It will not be negative, it will be positive. And we in Fides documented everything in our position paper reflects what we mentioned. Of course, everything depends on the political stabilization of the country. Right now, nobody is interested in this law. Hopefully, once we have a stable government, we can restart discussions, and of course, could have a positive impact. We have another question. The management fee isn't pro rata? No, our NAV increases when we conduct a share capital increase, but this increase moment is always close, and we want it to be close to when we enter ownership of a building. So no, it's not necessarily pro rata based on the number of months. It's based on the number of months we have the shareholders' money in the company. So it's all reported to NAV. It's all based on NAV. So we don't want to have a significant cash position. We want to always be fully invested. So to have a very efficient capital structure. So yes, it's pro rata depending on the number of months of ownership. And I would like to add to another topic, a different topic, the fact that the increase that has already been pre-approved, in addition to actually participating in the increase, the rest of the funds came from foreign investors. And in this regard, I think it's first on the aero market to draw in serious foreign investors. And hopefully, in the following days, we will communicate in more detail, of course. Yes, there will be a report, but it's not significant. It's not going to be significant. Everything is closed. You can, or pending completion. So you can monitor everything on the market. So yes, what we expect in the following weeks is to close the deal, and we will announce this on the market, of course. And this event will be visible, and the structure of shareholders will be available in a synthetic version, I believe, next week on the Bucharest Stock Exchange website once we conclude all of the proceedings. If there are any other questions, okay, so thank you. It's great to see that you have questions. We're always here available for discussions and to answer your questions. Thank you. Have a great day.